Hey, Dapperton. It's your boy, drunken New Zealander in a shitty Honda Fit. How's it going, my man?
How am I doing? Fine, but I was busy. Whatever. Anyways, how are you?
Hmm. Yeah, I've been doing pretty heckin' good. And hey, why wouldn't I be? I've recently upgraded from basic bitch libertarian to full-blown ANCAP. How's that, eh?
Nice. About fucking time, though.
Oh yeah, I was meaning to ask you, how long does it usually take the McNuke to come in the mail? I've been waiting almost a month and...
Oh, it's not automatic. You have to sign up for our website, and you get to choose which nuke you want.
All the best models. We got new Kia, some assembly required. We got Atom Bees, nuke for the whole family. And we got the McNuke, classic of capitalism. Never has 400 tons of pure destruction come this cheap.
Yeah, well... So, I suppose you'd want to know how this all happened. How I finally learned to hate the state.
Tell me, baby.
Well, it's pretty much just an extension of how I became a libertarian in the first place, so I guess I'll start there. I went to libertarianism because I realized something really basic about burdens of proof. Namely, that they don't just apply to factual claims, but also to actions. You know what I'm talking about. If you're just going about your own business, not harming anyone, not interfering with anyone's shit, then why should you need to justify your actions to anyone? But as soon as someone else comes along and wants to force you to do something in some way, or enforce their will on you, then they'd have to have a pretty good reason to want to do so. They should have the burden of proof to show that their force upon you is justified. Just basic bitch libertarian stuff. That's when I realized that everyone advocating government force was consistently failing to meet that burden of proof to any reasonable standard. Maybe this would be better if I had an example. Just pick one out at random. Oh, there's one now.
The world is a harrowing place.
And before you say, yeah, I know this video is pretty old news at the moment, but three things. One, it's going to be as rhetoric at any point in the future, so what's the difference? Two, this is a pretty good example of the thing I'm talking about, someone failing to meet their burden of proof on force. And three, why pass up a chance to laugh at Stephen Colbert when he's not trying to be funny?
The world is a harrowing place, and sometimes you just don't know what to say about it. For instance, I haven't the slightest idea how to adequately address the attack in Sutherland Springs, Texas yesterday.
No idea how to adequately address it, huh? Well, Stephen, I guess we'd better stop you there. I mean, you wouldn't want to just fly off the handle and do something that'll restrict people's rights or harm people in some way when you yourself admit that you have no idea how to solve the problem. No. So until we have a solution which can fix the problem without restricting anyone's rights, it's best to just do nothing, right?
You gotta understand that laws only affect law-abiding citizens. It doesn't affect criminals at all. You can write any law you want, it's not gonna stop a criminal from getting a gun on the black market. All it's gonna do is hurt good guys from getting guns. So you gotta be really careful when you write laws, because it only affects good people. So you shouldn't be writing laws all willy-nilly, you should write as few as possible.
26 killed, 20 others wounded in the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs, Texas. People on a Sunday going to love and serve the Lord, gunned down by a madman with a semi-automatic weapon and body armor.
Yes, I recall. It was a gun that he got illegally, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Dapperton, how was this shooting stopped again? Did the police show up and shut the guy down?
Nope, the shooter was stopped by a law-abiding citizen with a gun.
Oh, well, did the one guy who stopped the shooting, did he get his gun illegally too?
Nope, he got it legally.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that a guy with a legal weapon stopped a guy with an illegal weapon from killing more people. A guy with an illegal weapon was killing people. A guy with a legal weapon was saving people. You know what would be really funny? If Colbert used this as an excuse to try to take more guns from the legal category and put them in the illegal one. Wouldn't that be fucking dumb?
And that's exactly what he's doing. He wants to restrict firearms from law-abiding citizens, which would make law-abiding citizens lose their firearms. And those firearms will be sold to the black market, so these people will make their money back. Obviously, these people aren't just going to throw them away or dispose of them, they're going to sell them to the black market. And these guns are going to flood the black market. And there's 500 million guns in the U.S. and only 320 million people. More guns than people. There's going to be so many guns in the black market, they'll be available for cheap. So pretty much any criminal that wants it will be able to afford it and be able to get it. And the only people that'll be able to own these guns are the criminals. Law-abiding citizens won't be able to. So the good guy will be disarmed while the criminal is not. Kind of reminds me of gun-free zones where they only want criminals to have the guns and the good guys to be disarmed. God, left-wingers love arming the bad guys and disarming the good guys.
Now, we are 35 days, something like that, away from the largest mass killing in American history in Las Vegas. Still don't know why that happened, if we will ever know why that happened, or anyone can ever explain why any of this happens. And everyone is heartbroken when this happens, and you want to do something, but nothing gets done. No one does anything. And that seems insane.
I'm sorry? So, Stephen, you admit that you have no idea how to fix the problem.
I have the slightest idea how to adequately address the attack.
Then you notice that in the absence of any good plan, nobody is doing anything. And somehow that's insane. No, Stephen. That is exactly what you should do if you want to avoid making things worse.
And it can make you feel hopeless. Now, I don't know what to do, but I know that hopelessness is not the answer. No. You cannot give up in the face of evil. Nothing gets done about what happened in Las Vegas. They can't even pass a restriction on gun stocks, those bump stocks that turn a semi-automatic weapon into almost a fully automatic weapon. That died. No one's talking about that.
Right.
Whoa. When you said you have no idea how to adequately address the issue, you were not kidding. Ban bump stocks. You do understand that that's just a piece of plastic that bounces your finger back onto the trigger when you fire it, right? Here's a video of someone doing the exact same thing with an elastic band.
Bushmaster AR-15, it's an M4A3 model. And a household rubber band.
Got a license for that thing?
I left it at home.
Fuck yeah! The rubber band trick.
And here's another guy doing the exact same thing, just using his belt loop and his thumb.
Okay, like that. Basically, that's how you do it.
So yeah, you're right. You have no idea how to adequately address the problem. Spot on with that one.
Nothing gets done to control the guns that kill 10,000 people a year around America, not just in these mass killings.
Yeah, something should be done. You should just outright ban cars. What? Yeah. Cars are responsible for at least 3 times as many deaths in the US per year as guns are. And that's if you include all of the suicides in the gun deaths, as well as all of the deaths from the guns you apparently don't want to ban. So it's being very generous with the gun deaths. Now, you might say that you need a car, but you don't. You could take public transport. What you're really saying is you really want a car. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You personally haven't hurt anyone or violated anyone's rights with your car, therefore your right to own a car should not be restricted. But the same could be said of most gun owners. The vast majority of gun owners never hurt anyone with their guns outside of self-defense situations, and therefore it is a rights violation to prevent them from owning them. Consider the situation where someone buys a gun, hurts no one with it outside of self-defense, and is perfectly responsible with it. That person is entirely innocent, and therefore preventing that series of events he partook in is a rights violation. And so is punishing him for it after the fact. Look, you would never accept punishing that person if he was a car owner, but that's because you're ultimately not interested in defending people's rights on principle. Stephen, you're just interested in defending the rights that you personally like.
Yes, you're right. There's about 10,000 gun homicides a year. Look, if guns never existed, those 10,000 murders wouldn't just vanish. It's not the guns that are killing people. The murderers are killing people. If guns never existed, they would just use a different tool. And guess what? Those 10,000 murders would still happen. Now you may say, oh, well, guns are the best tool for killing, so there would be less deaths if it wasn't for guns. The most people that a gun has ever killed in a mass shooting is 56 people. In Nice, France, 86 people were mowed down by a truck. On 9/11, 3,000 people were killed using box cutters. The tool doesn't matter. So whether guns exist or not, those 10,000 murders a year will still exist. And those 10,000 deaths that you're talking about, those are homicides. In America, homicides includes good guys killing bad guys. That statistic doesn't just include murders. I can't believe that you include good guys killing bad guys in your statistic and pretend that it's bad guys murdering innocent people. It's so dishonest.
And doing nothing, as I've said before, is unacceptable. But it's unnatural. It's inhuman.
Right.
It just goes against our nature. We want to fix things. You want to respond to something terrible like this. Not just now, but at any time in human history. 5,000 years ago, if your village had a tiger coming into it every day and was eating people, you wouldn't do nothing. You would move the village, you would build a fence, or you would kill the tiger. You wouldn't say, well, I guess, someone's going to get eaten every day because the price of liberty is tigers.
How does that make sense? Guns protect your liberty because an armed population is harder to oppress. But how does the tiger do that? I understand that analogies don't need to be perfect, but they can't leave out the most important principle that raises the contention in the first place.
You take some action. Now, this hopelessness, this powerlessness you feel when nothing gets done is something, as I said, we can't give into. Because I actually think that there are some people out there, some truly evil people out there, who want you to feel powerless just for a buck. Because if you feel powerless enough, you know what might make you feel more powerful? Going to buy a gun.
And I think there are some truly evil people out there who want you to feel scared because when you're scared, you're more likely to want to give up your fundamental rights to an authority that claims to be able to protect you. But I would never use my suspicions about your motives as an argument against your position. Would you?
It's a vicious cycle. Violence happens, nothing gets done to get rid of the guns.
So you admit it. You want to get rid of the guns. God damn it. And you sit here and you act like we're paranoid. Oh, we don't want to get rid of the guns. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And people buy more guns to protect themselves, and now there's just more guns out on the street. And yes, this guy wasn't supposed to be able to buy a gun, but he could because they're on the market, these semi-automatic rifles. So what do? If you're not going to be hopeless, but you feel powerless, how do you get the power back? Well, I think there is one power you mustn't ever forget, and that is you can vote. You can go vote.
Yeah, vote! Oh, I thought you had no idea how to adequately address the situation. And now you're telling people that they should vote based on it? That doesn't make any sense. Who should they even vote for?
In 2018, vote for someone who will do something.
Woo! Yeah! Something!
Because this is an act of evil. And the only thing necessary for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing.
I've always hated that cliche. For two reasons. First, because for evil to triumph, you need more than good men doing nothing. You also need evil men doing something. I mean, otherwise you're just saying that inaction can itself be evil, and that means inanimate objects are evil. Look at this evil beer bottle doing nothing. It's stupid. But the second reason is because it's kind of inadequate. I mean, it's either inadequate or irresponsible. What you do is the thing that determines whether you're good in the first place. So, I mean, I say it could be irresponsible because it could be used by some as a justification for violating the rights of innocent people, Stephen. without even knowing whether it will adequately address the problem. Anywho, I'm done ranting at Colbert as though he, or even one of his fans, will ever get this far in the video before rage quitting. So yeah, you got anything else, Dapperton?
Yeah, Colbert could suck my dick.
Fair enough. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the kind of thing that made me a libertarian. Seeing people so willing to throw away the liberties of both themselves and their countrymen without a second thought. I realized that if we all treated our freedoms with such frivolity, it wouldn't be long before we'd have no freedoms left. But I was going to tell you how I finally went full ANCAP, wasn't I? Well, that'll take a little bit longer to explain fully, but basically, I started looking into the touted justifications for other uses of government force. And each and every one turned out to be every bit as poorly thought through as a ban on something which can be adequately replaced with an elastic band. Nobody could demonstrate that any of the problems that government claims to solve couldn't be solved as well or better by a voluntary means. And nearly everybody tried to turn the discussion on its head and claimed that I needed to prove an affirmative argument that we shouldn't force their ideas on everyone through the government. Now, for those watching who aren't ANCAPs, I'm sure you can think of one or two things that you think we absolutely need a government for. So for you, I'll be putting together a series on my channel that'll start sometime in December, and it'll be called The State of Excuses. It'll cover the functions of government that folks say we absolutely need and can't be done any other way. So, if you're watching this on Dapperton's channel, go subscribe to me for that. Or, if you're watching this on my channel, go stop by Mr. Dapperton's drug-filled, gold-encrusted, gun-infested palace for some quality content from a more seasoned ANCAP than myself. Anyway, this has been a pleasure, Dapperton, and it's good to be in the Black and Yellow Club. Let's do this again sometime. Ciao!